G'day everybody, welcome to Derek the Counsellor TV. I'm your host, Derek Leung, your counsellor. On this show, we're going to be talking about the A to Z of everything mental health, from anxiety to depression, to dealing with trauma, to talking about parenting, to relationships. And since I'm an Asian, male and Christian, those cultural perspectives would also come in when it's kind of necessary. So let's get on with it. Today's show, we're going to be talking about the importance of resting well, sleeping well, and coping with anxiety and depression. And interestingly, just in the last couple of weeks, the topic of sleeping well and sleeping enough has come up with some of my clients who struggle with anxiety and anxiety type sort of challenges like OCD. And guess what? Hate to sound obvious, but resting well is actually really important, especially if you're coping with anxiety and OCD. Quality sleep and rest is important because it allows your brain to rest so it can actually contain the waves of emotions that comes at you through the day. I'll explain more. Anxiety is obviously an emotion, but it comes from deep within our brain, the midbrain. We call that the limbic system. Not this part, but kind of like in here somewhere. This region of the brain is the older, more primitive mammalian part of our brain. And anxiety is basically like an alarm that goes off that tells you something is not quite right. There's a threat that's going on. So that when you get this alarm, you either run, you either fight, or you play dead. So, you know, the fight, flight, or freeze response. So imagine when your limbic system is going off. Imagine it is like a kid with a megaphone that's screaming out, "Help, help, danger, danger." The kid's freaking out and he's trying to grab anybody's attention to get help. What happens in our brain then is that our prefrontal cortex, which is this part of our brain, the thinking part of our brain, imagine this is your brain, that's where it is in the front, which is a thinking part, the conscious part, which is our uniquely human part of our brain, comes to the kid and notices what the limbic system is doing, notices screaming, and it has the ability to switch off the limbic system to calm it down. So we can actually choose to activate our prefrontal cortex to switch off the screaming kid, the screaming limbic system. And our choice, the thing is, the catch is our choice to switch off the limbic system in using the prefrontal cortex takes energy and focus. So to continue in the analogy, like our prefrontal cortex is like the adult that comes along and sees a screaming kid, acknowledges the screaming kid, assess what's going on, and try to calm the kid down by telling the kid everything is okay. Basically, the adult's telling the kid to chill out. So it is the same process that occurs in therapy when we practice mindfulness, when we practice the breathing techniques of self-talk. But more about that maybe in another video. So in an emotional regulation, we're engaging our prefrontal cortex on purpose, right? We're switching this part of our brain on to switch off the limbic system. So anxiety becomes a problem when the alarm is actually going off, when there's no threat, or when the prefrontal cortex, which is our thinking part, this part of our brain, doesn't recognize the alarm or doesn't know how to switch it off. And sometimes it happens because we've gone through some trauma, or perhaps our family of origin, that we actually haven't learned to contain ourselves. And we probably could discuss this in future videos as well. And OCD, interestingly, is basically another type of anxiety disorder where the brain actually, when it senses fear, it conjures up certain ways in order to suppress. So imagine like chewing nails, biting something, or clicking on a glass, or whatever it is, that somehow it thinks it's trying to do that to suppress the fear, but in that habit, it actually produces even more anxiety. So back to the relationship of sleep and anxiety. So for us to choose to engage our prefrontal cortex, and for our prefrontal cortex to actually work efficiently to switch off the limbic system and to turn off the alarm, the prefrontal cortex actually needs to be well rested and well fed. So Interestingly, clients will tell me that when they haven't slept well enough, they haven't had enough sleep, their pattern could be like sleep pattern could be disrupted, their anxiety actually plays up, or their OCD plays up. And sometimes it's the chicken or the egg. Sometimes the anxiety would actually affect the sleep, or the other way around. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So the warning now is that for those of you guys who actually have this OCD type sort of tendency, please don't go to the extreme and kind of make sleep your focal part of your day and be so focused on it causes more anxiety. All I'm saying is just think about what I'm going to say with certain guidelines. So just keep this in mind through the day. You don't need to be stressful about this thing, okay? So few things to keep in mind. Good, healthy sleep habit, right? Start your wind down routine early enough, maybe an hour before you think you need to go to bed. Stop working on the computer, right? Workaholics, you just need to switch off. You can't work to all the way through and then decide to go to sleep. You need to turn the computer off, turn devices off, and go to bed. Stop watching TV in order to fall asleep, or watching your iPad or phone to go to sleep, or the infomercials. All the stimulus, whatever gets into your head, actually winds you up, actually including watching this video. So if you need to go to sleep, you probably need to switch this off and go to bed. You actually becomes more anxious, right? If you think that you need to like work hard to go to sleep as well, because your brain is actually still in fifth gear. So just chill out and just know that also that your brain will actually learn to fall asleep. So when you go to sleep, try something different. Read a book. Read a book. Nothing that's got white light, okay? And for Christians out there, it might be a good idea for you to pray, read the Bible, or even just put some worship music on and just soak and fall asleep that way. Some other good habits through the day: exercise during the day. It produces good feeling hormones like the endorphins and adrenaline that helps you regulate the stress cycle, stress hormones. Exercise helps your brain rest. It helps you take time to not have to do concentration tasks, right? Stop drinking caffeine through the day or drinking so much late during the day. You might need to test out when's the latest coffee or latest Coke that you can actually drink. And the weird thing is, if you're kind of like most of us, relying on the caffeine to get you going to get through the day, maybe the key is actually reducing some of the caffeine so that you can actually wind down and fall asleep, so you can not need the caffeine to keep you awake. Eat well. Having good nutrition can actually do a lot of good for your not just physical health, for emotional health as well. Lots of things that goes into your gut and to your brain in what we eat. And also, if you're eating well, then it avoids the sugar spikes and the sugar slumps that can actually affect sleep as well. Learn some mindfulness techniques that helps you focus, concentrate, contain your emotions, and to wind down. And maybe I'll do a video for that another day. So to recap, to better handle anxiety and OCD, get good quality sleep. The reason for good quality sleep is because our prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, is the part of the brain that regulates anxiety. And we can choose to engage our prefrontal cortex. And our ability to do that really depends on how well we're rested. So practice healthy lifestyle and good sleep hygiene. So by doing that, some of the ideas in good sleep hygienes and good health lifestyle habits: exercise well, reduce caffeine intake, eat well, wind down from stimulus half an hour before you need to go to bed. Stop working on the computer and iPads, and refrain from using your devices in bed. So I hope this helps. If you're experiencing persistent anxiety, please go get some help. Go talk to your GP. GP may refer you to a counsellor or psychologist, or just seek a good counsellor online. And lastly, if you like what you've seen and like what you've heard, please subscribe and share your video with your friends. I'd hope to see you soon. We're making these videos regularly. So God bless. Have a good day.